Hey, young people. I think I did a video on this. Maybe I just covered it in because I searched my videos and I can't find it. Maybe YouTube removed it because of protection of the endangered bat society complained about it. But this was a case where a guy, San Mateo Sheriff, California, sent some guy all the way to a different state. Maybe it was Utah. Let me get to the video here. About the guy who called his buddy because he didn't get his car and it was really a civil issue and the cops raided his house. Here we go.
Holy final chapter, Batman. The Batmobile saga wraps up with an independent investigation by a retired judge.
So this guy makes replicas of, if you didn't see the other video, of Batmobiles. And I want to say they're 100 or 200 grand.
That comes to a stunning conclusion.
Now, the raid by San Mateo County Sheriff's investigators at an Indiana garage that builds Batmobiles should never have happened at all.
Of course it shouldn't have happened. And when I covered it, I said it was total bullshit. But per the law, they were able to do it because they had a nexus to connect it to a crime, and it was an investigation.
Team reporter Dan Noyes first broke the story last summer and is back with the latest. Here we go.
Here we go. That's right. Karina and Amma. Now, this was a confidential report. The San Mateo County Board of Supervisors had to vote to make it public today.
Confidential. So not only do we have government hiding shit from the people, saying it's classified, it's top secret, we can't tell you, you pesky citizens that tell the government that we work for you, the government tells you, you can't see what we know. So now we have local counties pulling the same shit. Confidential report. We have to vote in order to let the pesky citizens see it. Another problem, but let's get to this.
Today, and I was there to see it come down. The San Mateo County Attorney seemed to downplay the findings of the independent investigation performed by retired Alameda Superior Court Judge Winifred Smith.
Can you outline in the report what went wrong?
Watch this guy sidestep this question.
I guess I'm not trying to be cagey, but it's not eminently clear to me that anything went wrong.
Yes, it did. It was total bullshit. This guy, the sheriff, used taxpayer resources and money to help his friend. That's wrong.
Per se.
But a thorough read of the 47 pages confirms my reporting and reveals new details. Wealthy Atherton realtor Sam Adignostio called his friend, former Sheriff Carlos Bolanos, complaining that he hadn't received the $210,000
210. Ouch.
replica Batmobile he ordered from Fiberglass Freaks in Logansport, Indiana. The report says the sheriff took Adignostio's call because he is acquainted with him. Adignostio is a local business person and a friend of the sheriff's brother.
Probably doesn't hurt that he's got enough money to buy a Batmobile toy car for 210 grand. That may be another reason he took his call, but I digress.
The sheriff referred the case to the head of his vehicle theft task force, even though this case did not fall within its mission.
Okay, so the reason why the sheriff got around this, and he goes, where can I sign this case? So he assigned it to a task force of auto theft because it involved a vehicle. And if somebody pays for a vehicle and then you deprive that person of the vehicle, it could be interpreted that it falls under vehicle theft. And that's why he gave it to them.
The head of the task force spent 6 months investigating and then took a crew of 4 department personnel to raid the Batmobile garage in Indiana.
So they went to another state, and this is where I said they had the nexus. The nexus was this business received money from a resident of San Mateo. Therefore, the victim was in San Mateo. Therefore, San Mateo could connect evidence of the crime to Indiana. Therefore, they got a warrant and they went and served it.
He never bothered to call you before showing up at your garage.
Or having somebody else contact him.
Okay, so should he have had somebody contact him? Well, it depends. They're going to say, look, if I'm serving a warrant to seize evidence, I don't want to tip him off because he'll get rid of all the evidence. So if my intent is to go there and find documents that it was paid, or that you lied, or that you have the car ready and it's not, and you're withholding it from the guy. This was a total civil case. This is a civil thing. Matter of fact, they already went to try to go to civil court, and the civil judge threw it out. But the sheriff wanted to put pressure on this guy to help his rich friend. So maybe this guy would be intimidated and put the car out quick to get the police off his back. More government abuse of authority. Our government is out of control.
I mean, either way, yes.
So they never got your side of this.
Right.
The report also points out
didn't need to get his side. They can get it when they served a warrant. The purpose of the warrant was not to get his side. The purpose of a warrant is to seize evidence that you think is in connection to the crime.
Before calling the sheriff, Ed Ignacio tried to sue Mark Rakup, but the judge dismissed it, saying Indiana courts were the proper venue. Judge Smith says the DA's office has a policy that complainants like Ed Ignacio...
So the DA's office has a policy, not law, just a policy,
who choose to resolve their disputes in civil court cannot avail themselves of the criminal justice system. The raid and the fraud charges against Rakup, which were dropped after my reports, should never have happened.
Public trust in policing and public safety requires the sheriff's office never be perceived in its use of police power to be influenced by private or political relationship.
Really? Public trust requires that? And you wonder why there's no public trust? Can anybody connect those dots?
Rakup told me today the ordeal cost his business $350,000, he estimates.
How does it cost him $350,000? I'd like to know. He may estimate that, but I'd like to see proof on how it cost him $350,000. Look, I'm not saying this guy deserved what he got. He got a raw deal, and because somebody knew somebody, the cops came and raided his house, and it was messed up. But to claim that it cost him $350,000, that's just a number that he can probably sue San Mateo government taxpayers now, and they're going to have to pay this out and pay him damages.
And it has taken a personal toll. He's going in for a mental health evaluation for PTSD.
Because of this, if I see a sheriff's car go past, I freak.
Shit, if you got PTSD for that, 90% of U.S. citizens have that, because everybody gets anxiety when they see a cop nowadays. You should. You don't know when they're going to pull their gun out, say they're in fear of their life, and shoot and kill everybody.
Even just for a moment, it might only be 30 seconds or maybe even 15 seconds, but that's not me.
In the meantime, he's making good progress on other Batmobiles. Ed Ignacio's is now...
So the guy that complained and had the sheriff raid his place, here's his car being worked on. Yeah, I'm waiting for parts. Raise your hand if you think this guy who builds these cars is going to deliver a quality car for his $210,000 now. Good grief.
3.5 years away from completion.
3.5 years away from completion. Yeah, getting the cops to come raid him really worked out well.
I cannot believe that it's taking sometimes up to a year to get a chassis, and it's taking 6 months to get a drivetrain. It's really crazy.
So
my guess is he's putting out other cars and not this guy.
Oh, it adds up. 6 months of an investigation.
6 months of a bunch of guys writing, and when you work an investigation like this, you're writing search warrants, you're going out, you're collecting evidence, you're interviewing witnesses, you're calling, you're doing the lay of the land. If you're going to go search warrant, you got to get videos of the area or, Google images to decide how you're going to do it. You got to coordinate with other law enforcement officers that you're coming there, flight plans, traveling while armed, bringing your equipment in case you get a shooting when you get there, have the locals assist. I mean, it is an in-depth when you start serving warrants in different states. There's a lot of shit you got to do. So the amount of money that was spent, I think they're lowballing.
More than $10,000 to travel to Indiana for the raid.
Well, $10,000 maybe just for airlines and hotels and per diem.
$55,000 to pay Judge Smith for her report.
$55,000 for a retired judge to do a 47-page report. Gee, that's not a waste of taxpayer money. Let's just spend more taxpayer money. Freaking crazy.
She concluded, ensuring the appropriate expenditure of public funds should always be of the highest priority.
So the judge says that after he's getting paid $55,000 for a 47-page report. What the?
And that's the bottom line on this. A lot of money and a lot of time spent.
All right. So the Batmobile saga is done. The sheriff was wrong. There's going to be no criminal charges. And this guy has PTSD now and he'll be suing. And more San Mateo taxes will have to be raised in order to pay out because of law enforcement doing their dirty deeds. All right. We'll end it there.